Creation, says Onamadi. And now to Guardian.
On the Guardian newspapers, poverty makes people meal around Tinubu, says Osun Senator. World Bank $750 million will boost federal government social investment, job creation, says Osibanjo. INEC urges security agencies to reenact Anambra gubernatorial poll feat in 2023. Prepare for uprising worse than enters if you hike fuel price, Abdusalami warns federal government. On the electoral bill, CSOs knock Senate over consensus option as NAS re-amends bill. Petrol may sell for 403 naira per litre as governors engage Labour. Over to the These Day newspapers.
Yes, from this day newspapers, $750 million World Bank support will complement federal government's job creation, poverty alleviation schemes, says Osibajo. Terrorists attack military base, kill soldier, NSCDC officer in Katsina. APC stakeholders kick against planned February 26 national convention. This is from Abdusalami. Nigeria at crossroads. Insists nation is bleeding. I went to seek IBB's blessing, says Tinubu. From the NEC, full subsidy stays for now, but may be removed before year end. Daily Trust.
On the Daily Trust newspapers, Abia First Lady builds markets, gives grants to women. Enugu community tackles ex-commissioner over police harassment. Doctor batters wife over refusal to circumcise daughter. Over to the pen pushing.
Yes, from pen pushing newspapers, Ken Sarawiwa's wife, Maria, dies at 73. Nigerian military eliminates 49 terrorists. 863 others surrender, says Defense Headquarters. This is still the newspaper review on WFM 91.7, the newspaper review where we get to keep you abreast of the latest news and happenings around your locality, nationally, and of course, globally. Yes, the one that really strikes a chord with me, really struck me, Esther, is about the doctor that battered his wife over refusal to
Yeah,
circumcise his daughter. That is really shocking indeed.
it is.
Because there's been a lot of campaigning against female genital mutilation,
Mm-hmm.
and a doctor is supposed to be a learned person, and for him to batter his wife over that, it just goes on to show there's a lot of work to do when it comes to educating people about the dangers of female genital mutilation. Yes, let's go ahead and move on to the analysis part of the newspaper review this morning. This is the newspaper review on WFM 91.7. It's 22 minutes to 8. And you can always join in on the conversation by sending your text or WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537. Our very special analyst for the newspaper review this morning is Aditun Adibogun. Good morning, Aditun. How are you doing this morning? Can you
Good
hear
morning,
me?
Aditon.
Good morning. How are you doing? Nice to have you on the program again this morning. Mm. All right, so let us get into. Yes, nice to have you on the program again this morning. We had some technical issues just now, but can you hear me properly now?
Yes, I can.
Yes, nice to have you on. Our analyst for this morning is Adito Adebogun, and she is going to be providing us with some insightful analysis on some of the stories making the rounds this morning. So, Tone, let us start with some of the ones that really stand out. Esther, do you have one?
Yes, so I have this one here. NLC backs bill on rent regulation in FCT. This one is on the Punch newspapers. The Nigerian Labour Congress has endorsed the planned bill on monthly house rent in the Federal Capital Territory, introduced by the Senator representing Kogi West District, Smart Adeyemi. Now, this bill is titled Advanced Rent Residential Apartment Office Spaces ETC Regulation Bill 2022, and it has gone past the first reading at the Senate. It provides for a maximum of 3 months advance rent payment in the first instance and subsequent monthly payment for the rest of any tenancy leased in the FCT. The NLC president Ayuba Waba, in a statement, said the bill was in tandem with the rent regime in the most part of the world, including South Africa and Kenya. Adison, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this will make it maybe more easier for people to afford and be able to pay their rent without any hassle or running around?
I think it largely depends on the income of the tenants. If you look at it, I want to believe that the major reason why this is coming up is just to at least create some ease in paying of rent, and that is due to the fact that if you look at the economic situation, generally it's not really as good as expected, and so this would make for some adjustments here and there for tenants and all that. Yes, I also look at it from the angle of those who have these properties. They would have their reasons on why, yes, they have to get their rents at so time or duration and all that. But I looked at the examples that were cited, South Africa and one other country. You cannot compare the economic situation in those countries to Nigeria. That's why at times there are some things in other countries that when we bring it at par with what is going on in Nigeria, you also want to reason in a certain way. If you also look at the fact that, yes, economically things are not that good, but I also feel that on one part of this is that it could be done not just because of what they're having in FCT right now. I know there was a time this move was also made in Lagos at some point in time that, okay, why should tenants be paying 1 year rent or more than that, and the amount are so much. So can't it be reduced, or can it be pay as you go? Can it be monthly? In as much as you want to also look at this, there should be a balance, because even those who are giving out their properties for these purposes, for residential purposes, also have plans. So it shouldn't just be one-way sided. Yes, you want to look at the economic situation, but you also look at how beneficial is it, because it involves two stakeholders, the owners of the property and those who are actually coming in as tenants. So if this is agreed upon by both parties, because there has to be a meeting point, you don't just look at one side of it and how it pays the tenant. You also look at what are some of the things it will bring and how will it affect the owners of these properties. I know some houses have been there for how many years, and then when it comes to increasing of rents, we find out that these property owners, they quickly want to increase their rent and making those who are actually and taking residence in these properties, much more, feeling much more inconvenient at this time. So you look at it at both ways, but overall, I think it's better to balance things up so that everyone is happy with the situation, and then consideration from those who own this property will also come in, because if you have houses that have stayed long, or you've actually been managing these houses for a long time, yes, some will tell you they want to renovate, they want to do one or two things. They should also be considerate of the economic situation, the purchasing power of people, the earnings of those who actually bid for these residential properties. And if we are able to do that, I think it will be good. And on the part of the tenant also, I know gone are the days when they say cut your coat according to your
size.
Now it's cut your coat according to your cloth.
Yes, is what you have. You
try to win. Yes, live within your means, so that at the end of the day you don't become stressed out or overburdened with the rent issues. We know things are not really that right, but we keep on hoping that things will definitely get better.
All right. Thank you very much, Aditon. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to this story from Daily Trust. It says Dr. Batter's wife over refusal to circumcise daughter. Dr. Batter's wife over refusal to circumcise daughter. A wife of a medical doctor, Naomi Jolly, has alleged manhandling by her husband following her refusal to allow their daughter to be circumcised. She told newsmen that her husband almost killed her when he insisted on their daughter being circumcised, and she refused. According to her, the matter, which has degenerated to regular manhandling, is currently being investigated by the Cross River State Police Command. And she said this issue started in 2015 when the husband kept insisting that her first child had to have circumcision done. And she said she actually, reading up more about the story, she said she actually had explained to her husband that she had gone through female genital mutilation and that she almost bled to death at the age of 12 years old. But despite that, the husband was still insisting that it's a tradition in their family to have all females circumcised. Now, the man we're talking about here is a medical doctor. So, don't you think a medical doctor should at least be learned enough to know and have more understanding to know that although genital mutilation has been banned in the country, it is not even there are dangers that has been accrued to female genital mutilation that it's not something that should be done practiced of female children. What are your thoughts about it?
My first thought about it when I read the story is I'm thinking, is this person in the country? Is he a Nigerian, a medical doctor who, or according to what you also mentioned, supposed to be learned?
A Nigerian, yes.
And we've said that at some point in time, we look at our culture, there's some things that has caused dangers or threatening the lives of women and girl child. That should properly be looked into, and that is why you find out that the move, to totally eradicate this evil act, is still struggling here and there because some states have not actually, joined, to say, okay, we want to put an end to female genital mutilation. And it's not even just that. I'm trying to think whether we have a Cross River among the states who have actually accepted to put an end to it. But even looking at that, it's good that this is actually coming out. So we continue to say that there's a lot education does, but at some point in time, some people want to allow culture to overrule the essence of education, and then they want to justify why some cultural beliefs should be upholded and all that. But we've seen, from different stories that come up in the past.
Yes.
Even villages where it was done, they now realize the negative impact of having this done on the girl child.
Yes.
Those who have actually gone through never wish that their own daughters should go through the same pain. And that's one thing I appreciate about the story, that the woman said she went through this and this is what she experienced. I want to believe that there's a state governor in that state that can take it up. I want to believe that there's a women affair government in that state that can take this up seriously. Yes. And if a medical doctor, if he's trained, it's one thing for you to go through school. It's another thing for you to be knowledgeable. Even if you have the title or you have the PhD or you have the certificate, it's another thing for you to truly know that the value of the education that you have is supposed to make a lot of sense when it comes to some issues that will affect the lives of people. Doctors are meant to save lives. So if he's going to allow his daughter to go through this kind of evil act, for her to go through this such pain, because we know that as a result of that, there's a lot of blood that will be lost by this girl. Yes. If he should allow her to go through this, then what is the essence of the ethics of his profession, saying that they are meant to save lives? So I am going to direct it to the state government in that state and the ministry of the Women's Affairs Ministry to take this up. The legal arm also should take this up and to ensure that this does not go right. Because it also shows us that we are not ready to do away with things that affect the lives of girls, the lives of women, that threatens their life. And I think we have come of age. We have come beyond the fact that we should begin to change the narrative in the essence of protecting the girl child as well as our women. And I hope that at the end of the day, the state will come out to say something concerning it and put an end to this act.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Adito. So I was going to say that in some cultures, for what I heard, there's this particular culture that I heard that they say when this circumcision is not done for female children when they are born, that it makes them wayward, it makes them prone to, they just want more sexual pleasures, and it gets them open to teenage pregnancy and all of that. I got into this very, very heated conversation with somebody maybe in the years past, and this person is a very, very learned person that I used to look up to. This person went on and on to say they grew up in their culture, this is what they've told them, and if they do not go by it, they are scared that a lot of things are going to happen to the children. So I think now is the time for traditional leaders to start coming up to tell people we have seen the light. You cannot keep doing this to our girl child or our girl children anymore because of this and this. Because you think that the child is going to grow wayward, or the child is going to start having affairs with the opposite sex and maybe bring shame to the family, all in the name of teenage pregnancy and all of that. And you cause so much harm and damage, because the long-term consequence of female genital mutilation, they did not think about it. Some of them are not even enlightened about it at all. Aditon, what do you think about this?
The traditional rulers have, a lot of responsibility in regard to this. The culture comes right from the grassroots. It comes from the rural areas, the villages. They hold on to the customs and tradition. Yes, you can hold on to those traditions, but if it doesn't endanger the life of women or girl child, then you can say, yes, you are doing a good thing. But if in the other aspect of it is bringing a negative impact to the lives of this set of gender, then you know that something somewhere is wrong. And then if you turn the tables around, if the person is try to imagine, if they were not of the opposite sex, if they were actually female, would they even want to go through that hell that girl child goes through? And I also want to believe that when you don't have, life experiences or what these children go through, you might not even begin to, have a reasoning towards the effect that this does to their lives.
Yes.
Another thing is the fact that in as much as we appreciate the fact that customs are very good, traditions are very good, we should also look at ways that these cultures and traditions will develop us, not that it will demean us as human beings or bring down the self-esteem that we have in the female gender. Another angle to it is that when the excuse is that because you don't want them to become promiscuous or there's tendency for them to have unwanted pregnancies, I think we can do a lot better than that. Yes. There are so many advocacies going on concerning this particular menace that is going on in our society. There's a lot of advocacy going on how we can help our teenagers, in terms of preventing them from, going overboard and having unwanted pregnancies. And if we can actually do this right from the grassroots, from the primary schools, from the secondary schools, from the home, most especially, the way you bring up your child, the guidance you give to your child also matters. You don't leave everything to, as a culture, tradition, or you leave everything to the school. As a parent, as a guardian, you also have a responsibility towards ensuring that sex education is given to that child. If we begin to give that counseling part of it to our children, they won't go wayward. And then at the end of the day, everyone will have something to say, okay, we have tried. My people will say that it's not just one person that trains a child. The whole village trains a child. The community trains a child. So you don't close your eyes and say, because this is not my child, I will not actually help the child and give the child guidance. So it's not the responsibility of just saying one section of the part of the community is responsible for bringing up a child. Everyone should contribute. Yes. And we continue to say that the age of silence is no longer tolerated. We have come of age. Let's begin to speak out. And why are we saying that this advocacy should continue? Because if you feel you are not enlightened, even though you have not gone through the 4 walls of school or you are not educated, you should know the impact, the negative impact that this does to the life of women who have gone through it, who are still, going through a lot of trauma as a result of going through female genital mutilation. Not talk of those girls who are going through it right now. We have said it over time. The advocacy should continue. People should know the medical effect, the physical effect, the emotional effect that this brings, to the female gender. And I think that is the most important thing. Because if we close our eyes to that, we actually endanger the lives of the female gender.
Indeed. I just wanted to just chip in as well that female genital mutilation is actually illegal in Nigeria. The Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act that was signed into law by former President Goodluck Jonathan in 2015 stipulates a jail term of up to 4 years or a 200,000 naira fine for offenders. It's actually illegal, has been banned in Nigeria, but it's still being done codedly and secretly in different areas across the country. Yes, and like you said, more advocacy needs to be done, more awareness needs to be done on this issue of female genital mutilation. Thank you very much.
All right, let's go over this one on the Guardian newspapers. And this one says, how terrorists tried to kill me in Kaduna by Buhari. President Muhammad Buhari has recounted the attempt by terrorists on his life in 2014 when he was traveling from Kaduna to Katsina, his hometown. while commissioning some projects executed by Governor El-Rufai administration yesterday. He recalled how he narrowly escaped being bombed near Kawo Bridge in Kaduna. Now, this is an incident that happened in 2014. This is 2022, and we're still talking about insecurity, loss of life here and there. People feel like a lot of people feel very, very insecure and all of that. 2014 to 2020. Adeton, do you think anything has changed?
Well, I think my response to that will be based on the fact that there are still lives that have been lost daily. When you look at the areas where we've pinpointed as a major volatile, region, or where this criminal act is taking place, has it actually reduced? What are the people saying? What is the government or the state government saying concerning this criminal act in their different regions or their different states? If the response we are still getting, at least from most of the major headlines, is that nothing has changed. It looks as if it's even getting worse every day. Then we can actually base all her, opinions around that. But I also want to look at it from the angle of our security personnel. Are they well prepared now? Do they have the required equipment to fight, to combat this menace that is still going on? These are some of the things that we can actually look at, But I also look at it from the angle of if we have the president, saying that he actually went through this at some point over the years, and we still have the same situation going on. For me, I think that's more of saying you need to step up your game. As the president of the country, you need to step up your game. For those security personnel, they are head of these security agencies, they need to step up their game. When you continue to have the same situation, no results, then it shows you that you need to put in a lot of more effort. And it's not to say that what do they have to combat this? Do they have the required equipment? Do they have the personnel to put there? What backings do they need from the government to ensure that they are able to combat this menace that is still going on? Also, you also look at the fact that those regions that have been eaten up, what are the state government doing? What level of support are they giving to our security personnel? Are they also, bringing their own contributions on board to support what the federal government is doing along this line? Because you can't leave the responsibility only to the federal government. As I said, that is your community. Those are the grassroots people that you are meant to govern. You also have to protect them and all that concerns them. So if they also have this responsibility, they should also look inward and what can we do better? What are the strategies we need to put in place as a state government to also encourage and support what the federal government is doing? And the community where these things are taking place, what level of intelligence can they gather concerning this? What feedback are they giving to our security personnel? I know gone are the days when we say police is your friend or our security personnel are your friend, but we know that this is going to be a collective responsibility. The community, are they also giving good feedback to our security personnel so that they can also be at alert? Not when the deed has been done, that's when we start calling for help. So it's going to take everyone's hands to be on deck to ensure that we move from where we are right now and we get things better. 2014 till now is a very long time. It's so many years. A lot of people have lost their lives. A lot of people have lost properties. So many things that you can't even quantify with money. But we know that it is very important as a government to protect the lives of the people you are governing. If you are not able to do that, then you know that you have failed as a government. So we should begin to have new strategies to put in place. You might say, yes, it's not easy. They are trying their best. Yes, but from where they are right now, they need to put in a lot of effort. This is a new year, and this is 2022. So a lot of things have been expected from the federal government. So I hope that with this, as a reminder of where we were in 2014 and at this present moment, I think it brings back the fact that they need to step up their game to actually be able to protect a lot of lives. And then, just as the governor said, Lanlong, he said he's ready to prosecute those who are committing all this atrocity here and there. I think it's time for the state government to rise up to their responsibility. These are matters that we can't just take with just saying it or just writing it or saying it in the media. These are things that require proactiveness of the state government to do what is needful so that justice is served people that are taking lives of people shouldn't even be given that opportunity to just, merry-go-round or wander away while those crimes are being committed. They should take that responsibility, and then the judiciary should also know that they have a task at hand to ensure that justice is served, and these people are brought to book to keep, to put an end to all these criminal activities.
All right, thank you very much.
Well
Adetun.
said, well said, well said. Thank you, Adetun, for that response. Yes, you can still join in on the conversation by sending your text or WhatsApp message to 070 317 565 070 317 56537. We really like to know your own opinion or views on all these issues that we're discussing this morning. Please send your text or WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537. It's a minute past 8 on WFM 91.7. This is the newspaper review. Let's move on now to another news story making the rounds this morning. This is from Vanguard. And the headline says, Group urges more women participation in politics, entrepreneur activities. Group urges more women participation in politics, entrepreneurial activities. The national president of Nigerian Association of Women Entrepreneur, Barrister Mrs. Vera Ndanusa, on Thursday called on women to increase their participation in politics ahead of the 2023 general elections and the coming national convention of the All Progressives Congress APC, just as she urged them to encourage women in the lower cadre of the society of their self-esteem. And my question is on this story is, do you think, because there have been a lot of calls for women to get involved in politics, to engage in leadership in the country, but do you think the political terrain is favorable right now for the participation of women in politics?
No, it's not that favorable. I can say that because we also witnessed some instances during the last election where women's life were threatened. Some had to just draw the baton.
Yes.
Some, were actually discouraged because of the financial aspect of it, and so many other issues here and there. But we all know beyond reasonable doubt that women should be inclusive when it comes to governance, and so for any administration that wants to really say they've done quite well, there's need to have women inclusion in whatever it is that they're doing. We also know the positive impact women bring to the table, not just in the family level, economically, for the development of the country, their states, their different communities. And of course, globally, we've seen the impact of women being felt, all around different fields. You also understand that empowerment of women goes beyond education. It goes beyond educating women. It goes beyond giving the right of education to the girl child or to the woman. It goes beyond that.
Yes.
It brings about financial independence because an entrepreneur, a woman entrepreneur, has a lot to bring on board in terms of developing the country, and also in terms of having financial dependence, and also how she's able to support the home. You also want to look at it from the angle of the political part of it. Of course, when you have more women in politics, you know that you are giving a higher opportunity for women in terms of decision making, especially those that affect their lives generally, and also the fact that you pave way for more development, not just women in the urban areas, but also women in the rural areas and the villages and the rural areas where they do not have a voice, where their voice is not heard. When you have women representing them, they are able to speak up, and of course make decisions on something that has to do with women generally, the women folk, and how it affects and how governance affects their everyday life. So it's very important that women should be empowered politically. They should be empowered financially, of course, through entrepreneurship and all that. You also want to look at it for the fact that when a woman is empowered, you serve as an example. You leave a legacy for the girl child that is upcoming. You leave a legacy for future generations of females who want to aspire to be where you are, or who want to also contribute their own part to the development of the country.
Yes.
Nigeria shouldn't even rank low in that, because we've seen countries who are not even doing as well as Nigeria, but they have women, making impact. We continue to emphasize the impact of women, in other African countries as well. So Nigeria should also be at the front burner when it comes to women development, women empowerment, and participation of women in governance in the country. So yes, it could be threatening. Yes, it could be very dangerous. It could be more challenging, and the threats are there. The indices of the political terrain is not really favorable for women. But the fact still remains that there are some women who have distinguished themselves, who have stood out, who have made impact in the life of other women, and who continue to contribute to the development of the country as a whole. So let's give women the chance. And as the move is being made towards the 2023 election, we have more women coming up, with boldness, stepping out to say, I want to make an impact in the life of one woman and as many women that I have an opportunity to do so. At the same time, I also want to make impact in development of the country. So let's give women the opportunity. We've said it starts from the political parties. When we have political parties who are able to give the opportunities to women, they ride on the banner of those political parties. The ideologies of those parties also matters, because if you're a woman and you go to a political party where your voice is not heard, where you are not given the opportunity to come out, then there's no sense in going to those parties. Because what it means is that they are not gender sensitive. What it means is that they are not ready to give the woman a chance to also be part or be inclusive in governance. So it is something that every political party should start looking at towards 2023. Yes, the women will continue to support the men, but we also want women who will go out there and do great things to impact the life of women and generally contribute to the development of the country. These are the things we are looking at towards 2023 election, and it starts now. It starts now. We've seen what happened in 2019. We've seen women who came out. They are still going to come out. Some have not given up. They still want to step out. We have new people who want to come out to make sure that their impact is being felt. We continue to say, when you look at the leadership cadre, how many women do we have? When we look at the House of Assembly, the rest, and other, different committees, how many women do we have speaking the voice of women, representing women positively? Some have done it well in the past, and we're encouraging that more women should come out and make impact in the lives of other women like themselves, and also to the development of the country. So governance at different levels should include women. There should be inclusive governance. Whatever it is that you want to do as a government, you should know that women also are stakeholders, and they should actually be encouraged to, to actually come out. And women should vote for women, because if the women come out and we don't see women backing them up, then what are we saying? So let's support each other as women and give the opportunity for these women to represent us. And I hope that they will do justice to that.
Very well said.
Thank you very
indeed.
much, Aditon.
Yes.
Thank you. You can still send us your text or WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537. Let's go over this one on the Punch newspapers. Assault on teacher. Ogun Magistrate lampoons parents, orders remand of mother and talk. Magistrate court sitting in Adota local government area of Ogun State has remanded one Elizabeth Joseph, mother of Joshua Joseph, and SS3 students of Tonya High School area, and a suspected thug who allegedly beat up a teacher. So according to the story here, the teacher had reprimanded the students for his kind of hairstyle, and this child went home, told the mother got a thug and went back to beat the teacher. They attacked the teachers for reprimanding the students, and now it has gotten to court. And these are the words of the magistrate. Why are these children attacking their teachers? If drastic measures are not put in place, these are the kind of youth that will become menace to the society, not only to their teachers, but even to police officers and court officials if they get a judgment that is not satisfactory to them. If my parents had followed me to school to fight my teachers, will I be on this bench today? My point is, what kind of a parent follows a child to go to school for something like that? If your child has done something against the rules and regulation of the school, it is only the right thing for you to have told your child, since you know that this is how it works in your school, why didn't you just abide by the rules? But having to follow your child to the school to go and fight and even hire a talk to beat the teacher goes to show a lot about that parents at its home.
Definitely a lot, is being said in the report. I'll start by saying we've had some leaders in this country who testify to the fact that during their own days in school, you give a lot of reference to your teacher. You don't mess around with your teacher. and you are so scared even to go back home to say, I did this and I was punished, because you know your parents will deal with you. They might even tell the teacher to beat you more. You know, and those are the kind of parents we had in the past, who didn't take nonsense and who believe that when a child goes to school, there's a focus in mind for not just education, but also good morals. You know, what they have not been able to do at home, they can get more of it from the school, not just leaving responsibility to the school, but also getting, you know, the discipline that a child needs from the school. But when I look at what is going on right now, in as much as a child is in the care of the school, the teachers, and you know, you also want to look at it from the angle that there's a level of discipline, there's a lot of morals that should be passed on to this child. So it's not just writing on the board, it's not just listening to lectures or subject teaching. It also goes a long way to ensure that that child has the level of discipline supposed to get from the school or from the teacher. Yes, we've said it over time that there's a level of punishment that can be given to a student by a teacher. There's a level of beating that should, you know, be allowed. You don't unnecessarily give beatings that, you know, will call you to respond to some questions because you have done it. You've gone to the extreme to beat up a child unnecessarily or mercilessly. That is there. But the fact remains that morals are important in schools. Disciplines are important in school for a child to gain from. If we have set rules for the school, in as much as it has to do with the environment where the child is and some things that the child needs to abide from. What I saw in the report is about the hairstyle. So if the child has gone against what the school says concerning the hairstyle, why is the parent coming to say, oh, because you have scolded my child because of the hairstyle and all that? I think this is uncalled for. And when we say charity begins at home, who are the people that will bring that charity from home? Is it not the parents? So if you're having that same parent following the child, not just following the child to the school now, but bringing talks to deal with the teacher, I think this is uncalled for. It is not patriotic enough, and that parent or whoever they are should be dealt with according to the law. You don't take advantage of the person that is ready to mold the life of your child unnecessarily because your child goes against the rules. And then I want to look at it from the angle of why involve a child? Someone that is uneducated, you took your child to school to learn, and then you are bringing an uneducated person to come and deal with a person that is in charge of training your children. I think this is uncalled for, and I think that on the part of parents, we should be very careful. When we say that schools have a responsibility concerning our children, we also have a responsibility concerning them. You don't lay down or you know, leave a bad legacy for the child. Oh, if I go wrong or my teacher deals with me, then my parent can follow me and then come and deal with the teacher. I think this is morally bad. It is wrong. It is 100% unacceptable. And I want to believe that the states where this happened, the Justice Department will be able to take this, you know, to heart, and they will deal with the parents and even the monk or the person that was told to go and beat the teacher. It's actually, what are we talking about when we are talking about the level of education? It's not just about reading and writing. It's also about instilling discipline in our children. So if you feel that your child has been dealt with in a way that it shouldn't be, yes, you have the right. But when it comes to the fact that your child has done something wrong against the school and the teacher scolded, you don't have to take a mug or something to the school to go and beat up the teacher. We are bringing down the levels of morals in our school. And then when they say teacher's reward is in heaven, I think that has gone past with the old. We need to acknowledge the fact that our teachers are trying. A lot of our leaders today were trained by our teachers. Some in the universities are being trained by lecturers and all that. They are bringing their own expertise in the type of education on board for these children. We shouldn't take advantage of them or feel that, oh, because their salary is very low, or what job are they doing? They don't end up to me, so I should now deal with them. I think this is really serious. This is a very serious issue that should be looked into, and then we should begin to give regard to our teachers. It's really, it doesn't speak well when we talk about education, and then the way we treat our teachers, it doesn't speak well. So I feel that the person in question should be dealt with, and the teacher should be apologized to. And if the teacher has done something that is extreme, of course, it should also be cautioned on why he went to the extreme. But from the report, I didn't see anything like that. So I feel that we can do better as a country. We can do better. We can do much, much better And I hope that this actually, I'm following up on this story, and I want to see where this gets to. But I feel that the teacher should actually be apologized to. If he has not gone to the extreme in dealing with with the student, he should be apologized to, and the law should take its course.
All right, thank you very much,
The
Aditun.
law shall take its course. It's 14 minutes past 8. You're listening to the newspaper review on WFM 91.7. The newspaper review on WFM 91.7. You've been hearing the voice of our analyst, Adito Adibogun, who's been doing a very fantastic job breaking down some of the news stories we have for this morning. Yes, please still go ahead and send your text or WhatsApp messages if you want to share your opinions on the issues we've been discussing so far. Please go ahead and send a text or WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537. 070 317 56537. We do have a couple of messages here already, and this is from Rosenje Olawale Motiu from Alakwere. Good morning, Rosenje. How are you doing? Thank you for always listening to this program. And Rasenja is saying, good morning, dear presenter. Good morning. I am tired of the House of Representatives and the Senate investigating issues without a fruitful ending. It seems the culprits used to buy them out in the middle of the investigation. Let's keep expecting their findings on the police missing firearms. Nigeria will survive. Allah bless Nigeria. All right. Thank you, Rasenja, for your message. Moving on to another message here from Abiola from Ikeja. Hi, Abiola. Good morning. How are you? You're saying good morning and happy weekend. Some part of culture needs to be eradicated. That is why we have the bill to protect child's rights in Nigeria. A few of the laws that need to be eradicated are general mutilation, female genital mutilation. I think that's what you mean, and tribal marks. The difference is terrorists shift location. It doesn't mean it gets better between 2014 and 2022. You're talking about another issue there. And you're also saying that in some countries in Africa, women consist of 40 to 60% of the country representatives and political officers. And talking about the issue with the child and the teacher who got bitten. The only reason I think I can furiously go to my child's school when I get married is if my child comes back home with several beating marks on his or her body.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Abiola from Ikeja, for your message. Let's go to another message here. This is from Comrade Ikechuku. Comrade, good morning. My goodness, you have a long message this morning. I don't know if I can read everything, but I'll try and read a few. Okay, so I do apologize because of time. I can't read everything, but let me start from you. You were talking about let me start from here. You said, "Good morning, oh, please make you not don't be deceived. Our PVC are never outdated, Jerry. Please, I trust Super Eagles, Comrade Kichuku. Yes, and also saying, I support you people. Women are downgraded. I support them to be arrested. Any girl that will go wayward will go. Not this useless genital mutilation that is by force." And let me go ahead and read another one. You said, "I condemn female mutilation. What is very Indanusa doing to create awareness of the real women? Uh, it is favorable to. I'm not really getting that properly, but let me just go ahead and read another one here. You're saying that I believe that it is because of finance issue that made women not to be interested, but you can support yourselves. Create awareness, do jingles, especially urban women should move to the villages, have branches in the states. And also said, yes, let's send them to jail. That's about the teacher and the parent situation. The teachers beating in Ogun State is too much. The those parents must be taught a lesson. Comrade Ikechuku, thank you so much for your message. Yes, moving right on. It's 90 minutes past 8. You're listening to the newspaper review on WFM 91.7. Moving right on to another one here, and this is about UITH in Ilori, and the headline says 10 staff assaulted by patients' relatives in 1 month, says the UITH, which is the University of Ilori Teaching Hospital. The University of Ilori Teaching Hospital, UITH, has said over 10 healthcare providers in the hospital were assaulted by patients' relatives in the last 1 month. UITH head of corporate affairs, Mrs. Elizabeth Ajiboye, who disclosed this, explained that such attacks were unprovoked. She urged patients' relatives with complaints to always channel through the Civicom unit of the hospital, stressing that the platform remains a universal approach to voice displeasure over any issues. So, patients' relatives are really just taking law into their own hands and just assaulting, staff at the hospital. And I don't know if this happens at other public hospitals across the country, but the thing is this. And because I was based in Kwara State, I've been based in Kwara State for quite a while before I moved down here to Ogun State. So, and this hospital, for a fact, I remember a time when one of my close relatives, as a matter of fact, my younger brother, had to be admitted there. And I know the frustrations that we had to go through when he was admitted there. I had to buy gloves, latest gloves. We had to buy almost every single thing that he would need for his medical care. And it was hell. Okay. And this is the truth here. I'm speaking from my own personal experience here. So do you think that although violence is not an option, definitely not, but do you think, and I've heard of cases where someone is rushed to the hospital maybe an accident victim, and they're asking for a police report before they can attend to the victim. So do you think just generally our healthcare generally, patients have a lot of frustrations because of the quality of healthcare that we get? Do you think the frustrations are valid and it's warranted?
Mm. The frustrations are valid. Of course, everyone wants to save the lives of their family members as much as they can.
Yes.
And of course, in terms of emergency, you want to see what can be done, at different hospitals by professionals in the health sector to save the lives of our loved ones. Yes, the frustrations definitely are there. It's evident, but is the hostile behavior or the violence attached to it,
Yes.
Is it something that should be acceptable? Definitely, I would say no to that 100%. But you have mentioned some few instances.
Yes.
I also have one or two instances where I can mention. I also think of the fact that there was a particular scenario where I went to one of the general hospitals. I won't mention the general hospital. And I really felt bad at the level of service received there. I wasn't even the one directly receiving the service, but someone I went with, and I felt bad with the crowd and the impatience on in the faces of those who brought in their family members, and they were not receiving the services that they ought to have received. And the situation was just so, it wasn't really looking good. And so you could see the frustration on the eyes of everyone, the relatives and all that. But I appreciate the fact that at that point, I didn't see any instance of violence and all that. Yes, there were a lot of shouting here and there, but there was no sign of trying to attack the staff and all that. And that's where we say that it means you are going, on the extreme, which should actually be avoided. But when we come back to the fact of this issue, and you find out that a lot of things are happening in our health, hospitals here and there, be it government, be it private hospitals. And if you can get to the level of just paying for every single thing, and this has nothing to do with just the bill you'll be given. If all the things that is needed, resources here and there that is needed, that is meant to be in the hospital to take care of the patient. If you get to the extent that you are buying this, buying that, it can bring in a lot of frustration, on the part of the relatives of these patients in the hospital. So that's why I said that yes, the frustration will definitely be there. But we want to also ask the question: how is our healthcare situation in the country?
Yes.
How well are we doing? We have hospitals here and there, and you can't say that because you have funded a particular hospital or family health care center last year, you should stop funding it, or you should stop looking or monitoring, the inventories of what goes in there, what comes out. Because as you are funding it, a lot of activities is taking place there. It's not as if people are not going to receive medical treatment. So there is need to monitor. There's need to look at what are the things that were provided, what level of procurement was done, as at December or November or even January, so that the hospitals can be well equipped. And then our personnel, they are trying a lot. The health personnel, yes, they are trying a lot, but they can do better. In other clients, you find out that the healthcare personnel, I'm not comparing. Yes, you can talk about how much they are earning. Maybe that's what makes them to have a lot of sympathy for patients. But I think that we shouldn't get to the level, to the fact that the way we treat our healthcare personnel here in Nigeria, and then get to the level to which they are also agitated. They can't give their services the way they should. Instead of giving so much comfort or empathy, to the patient, they are also, trying to get a lot of things out of their head. I think we can do better as a country, so that when our healthcare personnel are tending to our patients, they can also do that with a lot of comfort. Even when I've seen someone mention the fact that she went for medical treatment, out of the country, and even though she was going through the pain, but the health personnel that attended to her, make it look as if the pain was over. The kind of soothing words, the kind of even breaking down the news to say, oh, you have this. You have to go through this, it felt as if she was not going through any pain. I think we can do better as our health personnel attend to us, as patients in different hospitals and all that. They can do better. They can bring in comforting words. They can attend in a gentle way. They can comfort the patient, even though they have their issues at times. It's their duty to take care of patients. So there's no need to be agitated in any way. And that's why we continue to say that what you put in is what you get to some extent. If our government, they are not paying a priority to them, you find out that they give the backlash to the public. And that is not good enough, because somebody that is already sick, you are also coming out with your own, agitated voice. You are not taking care of the person. You are not speaking words of comfort to soothing the pain of the person. And then the resources that we put at their disposal, how are they using it? Do we have waste, or is it not even enough? I think these are the things that government should look at. When they are able to do all this from the end of the hospital, you find out that the response from them to the patients will even be very, very, it will be very good. You get what as they say, when you speak soothing words to somebody, even if the person is coming with war, or the person is so angry with you, the person can calm down, because you are not coming to defend yourself. You are just coming to make peace with the person. And I think that is what our health practitioners start doing. They should give a lot of care. And if these resources are not available, they should be able to speak up, so that those agencies or government practitioners that are in charge of equipping our hospitals, they should be able to do that. And what is worth doing at all is what we're doing well. We can put in a lot of effort, so that when we go to these different hospitals, the services we get, shows that we are all, working together to make sure that everyone, is happy. And then it's not just at the federal level or the state level. As a healthcare practitioner, you are also doing your own part to ensure that in the community where you are, in the state where you are giving good service to the people. As a civil servant, you are giving good service to the people, and people will talk about that. So I think going forward, that is what our health practitioners should do. And even as citizens, yes, we want to save the lives of our loved ones. There are some of these things that were brought on, but I think last year, about police report before they treat an emergency and all that. But I think that there's this move to look into it, so that they save the life of the person. If the person is able to, if the person has someone to stand in for them and all that. But the first thing is that they should save the life of this person. I think if we can do that, all things will definitely be well.
Yes, life should definitely matter more. Life should matter more. Let's talk about a message here from Matthew saying, "Good morning. The rudeness of unbecoming attitudes of students today is a reflection of lack of discipline from home. It is very, it's a dismay to see how parents pamper their children, all in the name of love. You consider a situation where parents come to school to fight a teacher is uncalled for. Teachers do not command respect from parents when a child is corrected. Parents come fighting teachers, especially women. The men who do this are being pushed by their wives to engage teachers in a fight. I think that parents should teach their children how to obey authority." This is from Matthew from I believe. Let's see here. Oyero Ijoko. I guess that's the area he's sent his message from. Thank you so much, Matthew, for that. And also, engineer Soji Badijo from Ikpaja, Lagos, is saying, "Good morning, People Review. Good morning. The parents that brought thugs to beat a teacher for scolding a child should not only be asked to write a letter of apology, but prosecuted and jailed so as to serve as a deterrent to others. To others, my advice to government is to please restore back corporal punishment. Doing so will bring sanctity." Engineer Soji Badijo from Ikpaja, Lagos. Well, thank you, Ato Adigbon, for being on the program with us this morning. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, Adito.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you.
All right. So that has been Adito Adebogo, our analyst for the newspaper review this morning. Thank you for being part of the newspaper review. Join us for another episode tomorrow at 7:30. I am Timi Tokwe Oluleye. Sorry.
Monday.
Oh, Monday. Excuse me. It's Monday. Sorry about that. Monday, next week, Monday, will be another episode of the newspaper review. For some reason, I just felt the week should just go on and on. 7:30 on Monday for another episode of the newspaper review. I am Timi Tokwe Oluleye.
Good morning.
Good morning. Stay tuned to WFM 91.7.